Hello and welcome to this channel, a place where we talk about all things makeup related, from new makeup releases to comments about the industry and all things creative, makeup, artsy, all that sort of stuff. Today we're actually going to be doing a little bit of a conversation about the new Stupid Love palette by HAUS Laboratories, and I'm also going to be showcasing my redesign of that particular palette. But this is a palette that's going to be launching, I believe, on the 19th, and it's inspired by Lady Gaga's 6th album, which is going to be titled Chromatica, and basically this is what the palette looks like right here. It's quite beautiful, it has a lot of neutrals in there, but there are a lot of really beautiful blues in here as well. And I was actually telling my friend the other day that if my budget wasn't so restricted when it came to makeup spending at the moment, I would definitely consider getting this palette because it really is so beautiful. It just draws me in, and I actually really did like it. However, with that being said, I thought it might be fun to do a little bit of a redesign for this palette and kind of make it more in keeping with what I interpret Stupid Love's aesthetic to be. I will say this, when Stupid Love's music video first came out, I actually did an entire video describing to you my fantasy version of a Stupid Love inspired eyeshadow palette. So that video has already been published. I'll put the video on the screen so you can check it out for yourself. But I basically included a bunch of really bright colors in that palette. I was really drawn to like the bright, vibrant tones that were present in the music video when creating that palette, and I decided to basically redesign the Stupid Love eyeshadow palette with that in mind. So the original palette over here just included a lot of like blues and neutrals, and it looks like a pretty nice palette. I really enjoyed it, but I decided to make a few little changes and transform it into a palette that I liked a little bit more, and that is this palette right here. So this is going to be the original palette and this is the redesign. Clearly they have a lot of similarities, but they're also very different. So with that being said, let's just get into this video and talk about the first color, which is called 911. This is the first of many colors in this palette that I actually decided to keep the same. I loved a lot of the blues, and as we progress throughout this video, you will notice that I actually kept a lot of the blues and silver shades the exact same. So I did not change 911. I also kept Free Woman the same. I also kept Enigma the same. What I started changing would have been with 100 Doves. This is actually a color that I was sort of like playing around with in my head. I wanted it to be like a good all over the lid color, but I still wanted it to be a pop of something interesting and fresh, and I think slightly out of the box. So I decided to make it a little bit of a more bright pink color that still had that foiled finish to it, but still would be a little bit more interesting than just like a typical taupe-ish pink. The color next to that, Plastic Doll, is a color that I wanted to make definitely more like vibrant and more bright and neon, very similar to the aesthetic found in the Stupid Love video. Something that I want to mention, by the way, is the fact that, interestingly enough, the aesthetic that Lady Gaga was embodying through the Stupid Love video had a lot of like pinks and fuchsia in it, but what was interesting is that the palette itself didn't really have a lot of vibrant pinks in it. So I decided to change that and make Plastic Doll more of a vibrant neon matte pink. The color next to that, Stupid Love, was enhanced with a little bit more magenta to make it more of a violet magenta-like color that could really enhance both the blues and pinks in this palette as well. I feel like it provides a nice gradient, and it also provides a good grounding shade for the palette as well. Moving on to the next row, we have Light Up, Shine, Rain on Me, and Alice. All of those shades I kept the exact same. I really did enjoy them, I really liked them, and I didn't want to change them. However, when it came to Sour Candy, this was a shade that I wanted to keep a little bit neutral, but I still wanted to make it a little bit more fun and fresh and exciting. I decided to enhance it and make it into almost like a coral, but not quite. It still has like that neutral look to it, so you can still wear it as a neutral, but it's something different, it's something a little bit more unique, and it still has that foiled finish. Then the color next to that was Enemy. Now, when I started changing all the colors in this palette, having like a light orange in this palette no longer made much sense because the other colors were quickly becoming a little bit more pink, and I really felt like putting together a look with that orange would have been a little bit difficult, and it just didn't look good with the rest of the palette. So I decided to deepen the color up and make it more of a mid-tone brown color that could add that neutral effect to the palette while still supporting all the other colorful shades within the palette as well. It could be a transition color, it could really help you smoke out the lower lash line, and it could also provide a really good defining grounding shade for a brown smoky eye as well. Then when it came to the row below that, the color Peace, Fun Tonight, and Motion were kept the same. I did not change them whatsoever. I actually really like those colors. And then the color Replay right next to it was actually changed just a little bit. All I did was enhance the vibrancy of that color, and I made this beautiful like purplish blue color still more vibrant and a little bit more, I would say, like pigmented. Or saturated rather. So then the color next to that was called My Mind. Now, to be completely honest, I kind of looked at this shade and I was kind of like, it's a little bit boring, it's not that exciting, and I wanted to make it a little bit more interesting. And I also wanted to add another deep, really rich shade into this palette that would A, really function well as a defining color, and B, also potentially double as a liner. So with that being said, I decided to change My Mind, really enhance the blue tones of it and add some in there. And then I also made it a few shades darker, so it adds that smokiness to any look, and you can also use it as a liner as well. Next up was the color Babylon. Now, the original color was like this beautiful chocolatey, rich foil shade. However, when I was wrapping this palette up, I decided that I wanted a shade that would really help bring together the pinks and the blues in the palette. And of course, the perfect shade would have been a violet. However, I really wanted to enhance the magenta within the violet. So what you have is basically like a mid-tone violet color that has a lot more magenta in it than blue. And in my mind, I really felt like this really just brought this palette together, and it provided a way for the pinks and the blues in this palette to be used within the same look quite easily. That pretty much completes my redesign. Final notes on the palettes themselves. Obviously, I prefer my redesign. I really like the colors that I decided to tweak and add to, and I like my redesign, obviously, but the original palette is so beautiful as well. You have so many really rich and gorgeous silvery colors and blue colors, and I really do feel like there's so much in this palette to play around with. So yes, even though I do prefer my own redesign to this original palette, I will say that this is definitely one of the more inspiring releases that I have seen recently, and I am pretty impressed with it. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I do hope you enjoyed this video and found it inspiring and interesting. Hopefully this encouraged you to look at more hyped releases a little bit more subjectively, and hopefully this was entertaining to you. If you want to see more of my redesigns, I will have a playlist on my channel, and I'll also try to put it in the cards. Hopefully I remember. If I don't, I'm very sorry about that, but I'm always doing redesigns on this channel. I'm always doing commentary on new makeup releases as well, so there's always going to be new content on my channel related to makeup releases specifically. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it interesting. Thank you so much for joining me till the end of this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.